Okay, you guys. So to do kids tag art in Kleki, first open up your browser, whether it's Mozilla or Google Chrome or whatever. So open that up. You are going to open a tab and then type in kleki.com, just like we did last week. So kleki.com. And here we are. So the first thing we have to do is upload the template. So hopefully you downloaded that, you saw that announcement and downloaded that. If not, you need to go do that. So in order to import that into this, we are going to go over to the tools, and up top here, it looks like a folder with a piece of paper. If you hover over it, it says import layer. So we're going to click that. And if you download it to your desktop, you'll click the desktop and you'll go find it, or it may have saved directly to your downloads, so you can click on downloads and find it there. So I've got it on my desktop. It's right here, as you can see, and then I'm going to click open. I'm going to keep it as is, so keep it as an image. And you cannot see it, so we have to zoom out a little bit. So here are your zoom tools, which you'll need to know when you start designing your actual artwork. So we're going to zoom out just a little bit. So now you can see your template. And we do not want to touch this layer. So this layer has to stay as is. We don't want to alter it in any way. Now when you start working, your image, your artwork needs to stay inside of this broken line here. We don't want it to cover any of the words around the edges. So next, we're going to go over to the layers. So you can see this is the layer with your template. We want to add a layer on top of that. So press the plus sign for a new layer. So here's our empty layer. So layer 2 is going to be just a bunch of color, however you want it to look, whether it's stripes, some kind of design, just abstract color. That's what you're going to fill this layer with, because this is what's going to show through your scratch board. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my brushes. You can use whatever colors. You can use patterns, just a few colors, color groups, totally up to you. For time's sake, I'm just going to make this brush nice and big, and I'm just going to put some random colors here. Nothing fancy, just getting something on here real quick. The only thing you don't want to do is use a color that's really dark or like black, because the layer on top that you scratch away, that layer is going to be black. So I'm just going to fill in some of these white spaces real quick. And if you do go outside of those broken lines a little bit, that's okay. You'll just go erase it some. I usually always go outside of those lines just to make sure I fill the entire space. As you can see, I just did that, so no biggie. Okay, so I'm going to add a few more spots here. Okay, so actually let me add some green real quick too. All right, so now that you have your color, you want to clean these edges up a little bit. So I'm going to go grab my eraser, and I'm just going to kind of go along that broken line and clean this up some. So that way nothing is covered. It doesn't have to be super perfect, so don't stress about that. Just get it close. All right, that looks pretty good to me. So now that this part is done, all right, I'm going to clean it up just a little bit. Okay, so now that that part is done, you're going to go back into your layers. So here you see the template, here you see your colors. The next layer is going to be that black overlay that we scratch at for our color to show through. So I'm going to press the plus sign. So here's my empty layer now. Back to brushes, grab a brush, grab the black, and I'm going to just fill this all in black. And again, if you go outside of those broken lines, it's okay. You'll just go back and touch it up when you're done. So, trying to move quickly for you so this video isn't super long. All right. Okay, so let me grab that eraser real quick and just clean this up a little bit. Oops, that's a little too much. So don't forget about these arrows here for little mistakes. You can just press the back button and fix that. Okay, so now that we have this layer ready, it is up to you if you want to freehand some kind of design, some kind of picture, or you can find a picture, obviously nothing copyright, so it can't be a logo or a character or anything like that, but you can find an image and import it in here. So the way this works, if you are just going to kind of freehand your own design, you're going to keep that eraser, make it whatever size you need it to be, and let's just say I'm going to put in the word love. So I just go ahead and I start erasing. So rather than scratching like we would do if we had a real scratch board, instead we're erasing. And I am doing this with my computer mouse, so it's a little tricky. I think you guys have touchscreens, so that might be a little bit easier. So you can just totally freehand something like so, and obviously add a bunch more details so you have more color showing through. Or the other option, so let me backtrack. Okay, so the other option is to import an image. So if you found an image and you put it on your computer, which I've prepared already, I'm going to go to import image, and I'm going to find my picture. So I just got this cute little dog. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to put it in as a layer, and I'm going to size it up where I want it. You can use this little guy to kind of turn it. So I'm going to size him up, put him there, and then when I like it, I press OK. So if you look at your layers, now he is in his own layer. So what you want to do now in order to add this, you are going to click layer 3 because this is where you want to erase. You don't want to erase this because it's going to do nothing. So layer 3, you want to go back to that. Make sure this is the lighter gray. See how those are dark gray? You're not working on those. So go back to this, click on it, go to your brushes, get your eraser, and to trace him, I'm going to make my eraser a little bit smaller because see how that line is going to be really thick? I don't want it that thick. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. That looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to trace this little guy like so. And I probably should have picked something easier so it wouldn't take so long. So I'll just trace his head. So again, like I said, for time's sake, so this video isn't super long. All right, I'm almost done. I'm just gonna do his head. All right, so I did his head. I'm gonna go back to layers, and I can drag this down, the opacity, so now you can see what I traced. So if you think you forgot anything, or you can keep it down like this so you can trace it a little bit easier and see what you're doing. Once you've finished tracing completely, tap on that layer, either take it all the way down or just delete it out of there, and there is your artwork. So obviously I would add a bunch more. I'd finish, tracing him and adding some stuff around him. But when you are completely done and satisfied, you are going to save this so that way you can send it to me. So to save it, you can either press File, Save, or you can press the arrow with the line up here. They do the same thing. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to open with Preview. So Preview and click OK. Because what we have to do before we save this is I need you guys to change the resolution. So now that this is open in Preview, you're going to go over to Tools. You're going to go to Adjust Size. Now where it says Width, you're going to type in 13.75. Leave the height alone. Change your resolution to 300. And click OK. Now, it makes it look huge to you, but when I send it to get put online, this is what they need it set at. So now I need you to save it with your name so you can send it to me, and I know whose it is. So now we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Export. Now you're going to title this first name. So I'm going to say Miss, and then you're going to do underscore, and then just the first initial of your last name. So my last name's Moon, so I'm going to put M. So first name underscore first initial of your last name, Miss underscore M. And then your format, you're going to change it to the JPEG. And you're going to click Save. And now you can send this to me.